raise your hands and we bring the mic to you. There's a hand there. A quick identify yourself and pose the question, please.
Hi, everyone. First, I would like to thank you, Embassy of India, as well as OIF, for making the part of this summit. My name is Praveen Soni. I am doctorate in computer science and postdoc in AI. And currently, I am working as a founder CEO of the European Pay. My question is basically when you mention it is France and India is open for the young entrepreneurs. Currently, as I am working on the FinTech, the major problem what we are facing is the regulatory. When we are talking about especially the AI have to apply on data. What young entrepreneurs don't have the access of the PhD to apply their AI-based model for the transactions or the data because of the regulations. As I am building something for the cross-border where users from India can pay in France and vice versa. So this is one of the problems what we are facing. Do you think now is the time to redefine and recycle or rethink about the regulatory law on the payments on both the countries? Like, for example, if I will say, if let's consider as a Luzan or the Manoj who is buying a wine or the cheese in Paris and getting some cashback, and that cashback or the reward can be used by buying a samosa in the New Delhi.
Okay, that's a slightly complicated question because it has wine and samosa in it. Okay, but I think his point here is that I think you got it.
It's a very important very important and profound question, and I must thank you for that. You see, eventually, what if I've understood the question properly? What you're saying is that if you really want AI models which go cross-border, you will have to also modify your regulations and your laws in order to allow that to happen. And especially in the field of foreign exchange and currency laws, etc., sovereigns are very, very sensitive on these issues. And so therefore, there is a need to have a larger conversation. For example, in India, we are not very favorably disposed towards the cryptocurrency ecosystem, right? So therefore, because we feel that it's a challenge to the oneness of currency and to sovereignty in certain senses of the word. But eventually, as you move forward, till the time you do not adopt a more permissive outlook towards some of these questions, the true potential of what AI can bring in terms of benefits or ease of delivery or ease of living to the people would not really happen. I mean, it's a very profound thought. Thank you.
Tom, I think that gave us a question to you. Is regulation burdening young entrepreneurs? Are smaller companies bearing the brunt of regulatory architectures? That's something that
regulatory arbitrage.
And regulatory arbitrage. That's something that's true for India. It's true for Europe. I'm saying this. I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just saying that perhaps something that the Americans say might have a certain degree of truth in it. That we do stifle innovation in our geographies. Any thoughts on that?
So clearly the answer is yes. By default, regulation is a way to constrain in a specific direction the innovation. So clearly, yes. Sometimes it's for the best, sometimes it's for the worst. And from an entrepreneur perspective, I can see how this could be frustrating, and I was one of them. I can give you another example in the other side of the spectrum. When you have to build airplanes, basically, we have been the country that have regulated earlier, and then we succeeded to invest a lot on robustness, on security, and at the end of the day, we had Airbus that was much better than Boeing, at least from my perspective. I'm a bit biased. But now when I took a plane, I prefer being in an Airbus than in Boeing. So it's a clear example where regulation can help.
So what you're saying, over time, regulation begins to give you benefits which are tangible. I think that's the point you're making.
Sometimes it's clearly the case, and that's the example I just mentioned. Sometimes not that much. In specific areas, you just let people without regulation and the outcome is better. So it's not a by default regulation is bad or good. It's like, it depends on the objective. And what's the objective at the end of the day? I think it's what I mentioned. We need to deploy much more. So to deploy AI, you can facilitate the deployment. And this could be true by reducing a bit the regulation on some specific aspect. On the other way, regarding frontier models, you have, as I mentioned, to ask for more guarantees for frontier models from the US, from China. And to do that, how can you do that without having regulation? You cannot, probably. You need to follow the international laws, so you need to shape this governance to then have arguments to ask for more requirements.
Okay, we have a question there. Please go ahead. Identify yourself and ask a question.